This is my last piece. It's a little longer one. It's called Manifesto.
Yeah!
Whereas the hills are alive with it, Savannah is alive with it, the desert is alive with it, mountains, the sea, forests, bogs, and marshes, and swamps, and fens are alive with it. Whereas 50,000 attended the funeral of Emperor Norton I of San Francisco, first and only emperor of these United States of America. Whereas America is the incontinent octogenarian watching from her porch swing as the savage streets pound war drums and the tribal polis applies war paint. Whereas time is an illusion. Whereas John Wilmot, 2nd Earl of Rochester, moves in accordance with the spirit and died of syphilitic pox, aged 33. Whereas art is a corpulent sleep apnea in need of a breathing machine. Whereas modernism is a one-way street and postmodernism is a dead end. Whereas music is noise divided by time. Whereas Thomas Jefferson moves in accordance with the spirit and drafted a resolution for the state of Kentucky nullifying the Federal Alien and Sedition Act of 1798. Whereas poetry is synonymous with art. Whereas the state is the new mother who offers her overladen breasts to supplicant, expectant, toothless mouths. Whereas music is an illusion. Whereas colossal cocks and cavernous cunts are the future. Whereas Beowulf moves in accordance with the spirit and ranges Daneland, repulsing the mother's advances. Whereas the rake-hell cat is obscene, quick-trotting. Whereas dance is creation of product, music is creation of product, theater is creation of product, painting is creation of product, drawing is creation of product, sculpture is creation of product, drama is creation of product, prose is creation of product, poetry is creation of product. Whereas the disco globe ass is beautiful in its utility. Whereas freedom is without responsibility and statesmanship is without freedom. Whereas Royal Sanitary Engineer Thomas Crapper moves in accordance with the spirit and is remembered on the 27th of January. Whereas cinema is a grotesque, femininity is a grotesque, masculinity is a grotesque, the eye is a grotesque. Whereas the pleasures of the tongue are the Chthonian pleasures of the agon. Whereas the city is the lover whose body orgasms under the rhythmic wake of hope and fear, regret and satisfaction, delight and bereavement, lamentation and celebration, opportunity and adversity. Whereas the theater of the soul is the living room, and box seats are the davenport. Whereas James Madison moves in accordance with the spirit and drafted a resolution for the state of Virginia nullifying the Federal Alien and Sedition Act of 1798. Whereas music is the incestuous progeny of time and repetition. Whereas illusion is an illusion. The following convictions are therefore asserted: that carnival is the only proper poetry, that transgression is the only proper poetry, that subversion is the only proper poetry, that the people fashion their idols out of stone and steel, that the intelligentsia fashion their idols out of smoke and wind, that plutocrats fashion their idols out of the vacuum ether of idealists and the created ashes of the people, that the ideal poetry is music, that the ideal music is art, that the ideal art is grotesque, that the truest enemies of cinema are actors, that the truest enemies of poets are poetry are poets, that the truest enemies of the state are statesmen, that politicians are giants, tricksters, shapeshifters walking among the people, that the lobby are Nephilim, progeny of fallen angels and loose women, that bankers and usurists are the heroes of old, the aristocracy answerable only to the sword arm of the people, that the state needs poetry, else there is no state, that poetry needs music, else there is no poetry, that music needs repetition, else there is no music. that for every God there is a Son of God, that for every God there is a Trinity of God, that we the people worship God, and the holy, sacred, and divine Trinity of God is America, enterprise, and liberty. That we the people watch as the circus clowns lead our mother away in chains. That we the people watch as the circus magician cuts our mother into pieces. That we the people are fruitless circus mimes who stare and gesture, blocked by an invisible wall of air. That we the people are the daughters of liberty. That we the people are the sons of liberty. That we the people move in accordance with the Spirit. That where there is a witness, there is truth. That where there is one, there are three. That liberty, conscience, and art demand that we the people behold the plague-ridden prophets of the American apocalypse. Behold the bridegroom come, the monk and his nun. Behold the protection provided by Captain James Allen to the stock and to the fox. Behold the predation of the westward bound settler, the dog soldier, and the Sioux. Behold Fort Des Moines number 2. Behold the spit-shined shoe, despoiler of virtue.